at the end, it's easy for you to get an influencer, for example, on Twitter, who is a young person, who understands that this country can never move in the right direction with the kind of politics that those older candidates are playing. But they will fall for it because that's their means of livelihood. They have to put aside principles. In those days, people don't have to put aside principles. And I want to go to 2019. The people that you are referring to in 2019 who met and said, oh, we should choose a candidate, ask yourself, where are they today? I'm the only person standing from that team. And the moment we met for the first time, and that was the only meeting I went to, and they were saying that it's the elders that said they should choose a youth for them that they can work with. That was the day I left the meeting. And this happened at Charlie Boy's house. They said to my face that the elders in the country don't want an aggressive youth to be a candidate. They want somebody they can work with. And I said, no, it's the youth that should choose their candidate, and the others will accept it. So, and I've said this before, and that is why I'm still sitting here today, because I never compromised my standard, my position at that time. You know all the young people that ran in 2019. Ask yourself, where are they today? The only person that tried to come back, who is younger, was Kingsley Moghalu. They took him to Abeokuta in Obasanjo's hotel and ridiculed him. Because, why? They know that if he came out, probably he will not step down for the candidates they want, and they don't want a radical person. I'm just saying that so that you can understand the context under which young people's decisions are not making it to the mainstream. All these obstacles we are talking about don't exist elsewhere. It doesn't exist in America. Young people can decide for themselves because they have jobs, they have homes, they have cars, when they want to drive them. They don't have to go and beg some elder to give them money. They don't even beg their parents for money after they are 18 years old, mostly. So if you go to South Africa, where young people have independence because you don't have police always shooting at them when they want to meet. That's why you see a Julius Malema in South Africa who can go to the parliament, confront the president of the country, actually kick him out of power, and still go home and sleep. You cannot insult, according to Nigeria's terminology. You can't talk to the president of Nigeria and go back home alive. I was charged after 2019 election. I was charged for insulting the president, and I spent 5 months in detention and 3 years in restriction here in Abuja. Those are the kind of obstacles we face as young people in the country, and people must live with that reality. But should we not also blame the young people who keep falling for the tricks of these older persons who don't want them to progress? Of course, we blame them too, because they don't need to beg them to liberate themselves. That's why our party provides that platform for total liberation. And I'm the only candidate, and I can say it anywhere, who you probably have met or known, who doesn't have any ties to the old system of this country, the old political system. They didn't send me to school, they didn't find me a job, and they didn't make me. Everything I had in life, I worked hard for it. And that's why they find it difficult to relate with, the kind of concept of politics that we exude. And the confidence with which I say to them that, look, I don't have to beg anybody. I'm not going to meet anybody in his house who has ruined Nigeria to endorse me for a political office. Never. And that is why we are different. This is our position, and it remains the position of credible youths in the country. And you'll be surprised that these youths might just take that position that you have been waiting for. But it doesn't have to be endorsed by the same political buccaneers in the country who have made this country ungovernable or turned into ungoverned spaces today.
Let me ask you then, because the way you have come out across it, and I know you have been at this for a very long time. You and I have related officially and unofficially for more than 30 years. So I know where you're coming from. So I guess the next question will be, why do you persist then? Because if the system and the obstacles are as you have described, then why do you persist? If in 2019, all of you met the way you've explained it, and at the end you couldn't come to some kind of agreement. This is 2023. Why is it that you persist? Because all the obstacles you describe are still there now in 2023.
What is happening here is that some people, and a lot of us, have a historical duty to break these bonds. We have a historical duty to break our chains. You could ask the same thing of Malcolm X. You could ask the same thing of Martin Luther King. You could ask Mandela why he decided to sit down in jail for 27 years instead of signing up to the apartheid regime and becoming a minister a few weeks after he was detained, when they asked him to surrender to them and dismantle the ANC. You can ask the same of those people who persisted against colonial rule. Why don't you just let the colonials continue, since we feel inferior to them? So I don't accept that, and a lot of people don't accept that. Those who are queuing up to buy petrol at 1,000 naira per liter don't want the situation to persist. Those who are looking for new naira notes that they claim were redesigned don't want to persist in this condition. Those who are sick and don't have hospital care at this point, those who are dying on our roads, and those who have spent 9 months at home instead of 2 semesters already gone, don't want the situation to persist. I don't want also to persist in misery. I don't want to live in a country of my birth in which I'm a prisoner inside the country. So we persist against all these odds because we deserve better. There's no point debating surrender. The people and the only conditions that must surrender are the oppressors and the oppressive conditions and the bondage that they have put our people. Those are the people that must be forced to surrender, not me. I've persisted against this, or like you said, since I met you for the first time around 1993, and that's 3 decades ago. So, and a lot of things have happened since then. If we didn't persist in 1993, we wouldn't have democracy in 1999. So if we didn't persist in 2007, we would have had Obasanjo continue his third term. If we didn't persist under Yar'Adua, Jonathan would not have become president, the first person to come from Ijaw land. So the persistence is done so that we can break the yoke of oppression and the burden placed on our people to perpetually live in misery. It's unacceptable, and we must persist against it so that we can live a better life. If we don't, our children deserve better.
Whether or not you have a war chest, or whether or not indeed the media has played a salutary role in the process or not, we have seen it elsewhere that when the young or the youthful, let me use your phrase, have come together, none of these barriers has presented them or has prevented them from actually putting in place something that they want. Because they have the numbers, and democracy is about numbers. But you referenced 2019. One of the reasons many people gave in 2019 for why the youth or the youthful candidates did not seem to make much of an impact, put aside whatever else may have happened, was that, first of all, there were too many of you, and that when it was opportune for you to kind of form some kind of alliance, it broke down. And many people were saying you guys had learned nothing from those who were older than you. It's from that context that I'm coming when I ask the question, why does it seem to be that the youth themselves, given that they have the numbers, are not able to impose their will on the system, no matter how that system is skewed against them?
Well, when systems are skewed against you in a way that it bastardizes you with hunger, unemployment, it reduces your dignity to next to zero, and you now have elders who play divisive roles in the society and don't want young people to progress, as they've always done. When I was in primary school, elders came to us and said, "You are the leaders of tomorrow." But the elders in the country, in their 80s, in their 90s, those who are politically connected or those who control the political levers as far as they are concerned, are still choosing leaders for the youth. Then you can understand an average young person in the US who has a job, who don't rely on giveaways, who don't rely on takeouts from politicians, has independence to make these decisions. But the young people in Nigeria have been targeted over time so that they won't have a voice.